Hello and welcome to Did You Know Gaming Extra. Today we're looking at projects that have the popular animator Don Bluth's name attached. Dragon's Lair is one arcade game which saw cult fame. With its hand-drawn animations and extreme difficulty spikes, many consider it to be a demonstration of how traditional art and video games can work hand in hand. Don Bluth, popular animator and film director of movies such as An American Tail, was one of the game's creators and artists. And while creating one of the characters, Bluth drew from some unexpected source material. According to Bluth, Princess Daphne's design was heavily inspired by Gary Goldman's Playboy magazine collection. Bluth and Goldman had worked together on several films prior to the creation of Dragon's Lair. Bluth used the magazines for reference, as well as partial inspiration from Marilyn Monroe. Bluth said, "I, who had never looked at a Playboy magazine before, was introduced to one by Gary Goldman, who pointed out there were several provocative pictures within, and that they may inspire us. There was a lot of the Marilyn Monroe image that came across with Daphne. She was a cliché of the dumb blonde." Dragon's Lair received a large number of ports, with varying results. When it came to the game's Amiga port, programmer Randy Linden, who worked on the game's copy protection to deter piracy, left a note to those wishing to crack the game. The note states, "A message to crackers. Nobody wants copy protection. All it is designed to do is give a program a fighting chance." Now we realize that there is a great competition to see which group breaks this game first. However, if you do break it, please consider this. If you let this game out early after release, and there are few sales, it will be very difficult to justify follow-up games of this type. Nobody benefits, not the developers, not the user, and not the Amiga community. Please reconsider holding on for a while and not letting the game suffer. The decision is yours. Due to the fact that Dragon's Lair wasn't shared online until several months later, either the notoriously difficult copy protection helped to deter illegal copying of the game, or this message pulled at the heartstrings of those who would have bypassed this protection. Randy Linden would later go on to work on the commercialized Sony PlayStation emulator Bleem, before the project ultimately caved into legal pressure. Linden was then hired by Sony, and was put to work on the PlayStation 1 emulation on the PlayStation 2, and later the PSP and PlayStation 3. Bluth didn't just work on his own projects in the game industry. In 2004, Bluth was contacted by Namco to work on one of their biggest franchises. At the time, the Japanese company was working on a new Pac-Man game with the development name Pac-Man Adventures. Namco contacted Bluth hoping that he would provide concept art. Don agreed and was taken on as a design consultant. Bluth designed several characters and environments for the project alongside Blitz games, including a number of backstory elements. Whilst the game never saw a release as it was ultimately cancelled, a number of the elements from this project were repurposed for the release of Pac-Man World 3. And now for this episode's random piece of trivia. Today we've chosen to talk about Sega's arcade racer Daytona USA 2. The game isn't exactly known for its Easter eggs, but it does contain a noteworthy secret. If the player stops at the finish line of the beginner's course for about 30 seconds while rapidly pressing the start button, a message reading "Go to Hell" will appear on the finish line's bulletin board. There's 2 more videos for you on screen if you're looking for some more trivia. Tasty! And if you enjoyed this episode of Did You Know Gaming Extra, be sure to give it a like and maybe share it with your buddies. This script was a nightmare for me to read for some reason.